Hi guys. So this is kind of a discussion video. I have watched Sakan Lam's beginning ideas of monkey kung fu and stuff, and that kicked off something that I remember from when I was in the Navy and I was training with a buddy of mine there, and we would beat the shit out of each other all the time. Man, we would just we were insane. Anyway, but. But a lot of what he showed in that video is what my friend would do, because he was trained in Kung Fu and he was trained in monkey style as well. And it would infuriate me because I was a grappler primarily at that point. I had not really, and actually this guy is exactly the whole idea of why I should kind of branch out from just grappling and start studying striking arts and stuff like that. Because he would do things that would infuriate me as a grappler, okay? And so this also leads into the discussion part of this video. But first with the story, and then we'll get into the discussion part. So anyway, we would train all the time, and anytime that I got to a point where I'd be ready to grab a hold of him, or I would be at that moment where it's like, okay, now I gotcha, you know? He would do something that would infuriate me. Like he would do a quick finger flick and strike me in the groin, and then it was over. Or he would do something very fast, like I would have him in an arm lock, and he would dislocate his shoulder, turn his whole entire body around, relocate it, and then hit me with that same arm. I mean, he just did stuff like that just made me angry. Not really angry, but it just right. And so that's the type of guy that I got dealing with when I was doing a lot of training with him. So anyway, on with the story. One time I actually managed to get him cornered. Now we were training at one of his friends' bar, and it was during the day, so the bar was shut down, and we would go there and just hang out and shoot the shit, whatever. And I had him cornered, and there was the corner, and then there was a chair, and then there was a table. Okay, and I knew that whenever I tried to get within a certain range, he would go for the finger flick to the groin. I knew that. I saw it coming every time. This one time I managed to grab that arm and grab the other arm, and then I had both arms, and I said, ha ha, I got you, right? Can't finger flick me now, right? And I don't know how he did it, but he somehow managed to put a foot on the chair, leap off of it, and hit me in the head with the knee. And I went down like a sack of taters. I mean, it was just boom. Okay. And then he just looked at me, apparently, because when I came to, he was just looking at me, wondering, like, you okay? And I just looked at him like, did I get you? What the hell happened? So, and the only thing that I can figure out is that he must have jumped off the chair and then done the knee, and he said something to that effect, but I was still groggy and out of it, you know. So there's the story for you. And that brings highlight to the discussion part of this video, which is the idea of a grappler's mindset versus a striker's mindset. And those two things are very different. Being primarily a grappler myself, a grappler is primarily always looking to close the distance, but he wants to do it in such a way that it brings an advantage to him, okay? And it kind of branches out into the whole basis of martial arts in general. The grappler is always going to try to grab a hold of the person, take him down, and finish him. Okay, and that really doesn't matter what school or type of grappling you have. It really doesn't matter if you're a sophisticated jiu-jitsu just technician on the mat, or if you're just the basic high school wrestler. Hey, arm bends this way, if I spin it the other way, it doesn't work that way and it hurts. Okay, it really doesn't matter what level you're at. When you start looking at the sophistication of your specific style or the specific way of doing things, at the end of the day, it's all based on the one thing. I have a hold of this guy. I have control of the situation. I have brought my opponent into my sphere of strength and my sphere of control, and now I'm able to exert my will upon them. And really, that's basically the idea. A striker is going to look at it from that standpoint, and he's going to be like, okay, maybe I don't want to be in that sphere of control. Now, sometimes a striker has grappling, sometimes he doesn't, sometimes he has tricks. What would I consider a trick? Well, the monkey finger flick. You know, you strike somebody in the groin like that, although it is not a so-called power attack or a lethal attack or anything like that, it does buy the striker some time to throw something else or to back away or whatever. If you look into the ninjutsu part of it, the idea of the ninjutsu, without getting too into it, is basically the grappler tries to grab you and you disappear. You reappear somewhere else, but you still disappear from that area that he expects you to be. And that's another trick that is used. Some common tricks that you'll find in karate and boxing is they'll use unorthodox angles. They'll use different angles. They'll use different things like that. All these are basically designed to fight the sphere of control. And if you remember earlier in one of my videos, I think it was in my online self-defense seminar, where I was talking about attack what was strong, or attack what is weak, avoid what is strong. And that's why I showed that your sphere of strength basically is this area inside your chest. That's because that's the way the human body is designed. That's where your strength is. That's where your most strength is. The further out away from that you get, the weaker and weaker you become. It's just physics. It's just that way anatomically. So the point of a good striker is he wants to get away from the sphere of the strength of the grappler. By the same token, if you have a good strong grappler and you have a stronger grappler against if you got two grapplers, one stronger than the other, that's when things start getting interesting. Because yes, technique can make up for strength. On the other hand, there's an amount of technique versus strength. There's a strength technique ratio, as I've found. And in my experience, a guy that has great technique, but the other guy that he's fighting, he may not have that same technique, but if he's got a 50-pound bench advantage over the other guy, they're equal. Now, if the other guy that had the 50-pound bench advantage, he's got a 75-pound bench advantage, he's going to win because he's stronger. Because grappling is a strength-oriented art. If you look at striking can be a speed-oriented, agility, these type of things, accuracy, these type of things. Not strength as much. You get inside of a grappling situation, now it's a strength-oriented art. The stronger you are, the better chance you have of surviving that encounter. That's why grappling can be a difficult thing for certain people. That's why you need to understand the mindset of the grappler. The idea of a grappler is he's going to try to either get in and grab hold of the opponent and take him down and finish it, and he's going to do that one of two ways. he's either going to stay away from the striker, because the striker at range, he's dangerous. He really is. But the grappler thinks, okay, if he can hit me, and if I have time to block, I have time to grab. If I have time to block and grab, sooner or later, that striker is going to go down. Now, I might take a lot of punishment doing it. That's okay. As long as it ends with me down, with him and I on the ground, me on top of him, finishing the situation. That's okay. That's the way a grappler's mindset is. Now, sometimes, if I'm up against a really good striker, I'm gonna hang back for a minute. I'm gonna let him come to me. In a self-defense scenario, where I have to actually think about legalities and stuff like that, if I'm hanging back, there's a chance that I'm going to be able to retreat and get away. Maybe that's what I need to be doing. On the other hand, if I'm waiting for him to come, I'm waiting for him to overextend. When he overextends, that's when I grab, I snatch, grab whatever. And then I can deal with whatever. And because if he's already extended that punch, hey, if I grab hold of that wrist, now I have control of this elbow. And since it's already extended, it's very little for me to just go ahead and hyperextend it as well, thereby gaining control. Okay. On the other hand, if I want to become closer to this person, maybe he's not as good of a striker. Now he may be a striker, but he may not be as skilled, or I may feel more comfortable in this situation with being closer. Okay. Now this is where you're going to need to be able to not really, and see, once you get in this type of a close, I'm talking close range, I'm talking, pretty much the distance between me and my hand, right here, okay? I'm not going to focus on throwing strikes. I'm going to focus on blocking, which is going to make me faster at blocks than he will be strikes, because he's still going to be thinking that I'm going to throw strikes. I don't need to throw strikes. All I need is to block. Anything that he's coming in at me with, I'm going to go ahead and block, and then grab, and then take control of. Okay? So, pretty much, again, close range being, this far from my chest to even a couple of feet. So, at that range, I'm just trying to block everything, grab, take them down, and go from there. So, the idea then, the way to defeat that then, is to break the grip. If you are a striker, you're going to want to ensure that you break my grip. That's going to be difficult. If you're up against a good grappler, that will be difficult. That's why you need to understand the grips and how to grip fight. So, now then, once you've broken the grip, then you want to be able to position your body in a way that they will not be able to re-engage, or you want to move away from the sphere of strength is basically what you're wanting to do. Okay, so, and then once you've got distance, then you might be able to throw a few parting shots. If the opportunity presents itself, it doesn't, whatever, you need to create distance, because a grappler is all about constricting distance, and if you're a striker, you want to expand distance. Okay? Alright, so let's look at a few of the disadvantages of grappling, especially when we start talking about self-defense and in actual street situations. The biggest main problem with grappling is that it's very centric on a single attacker. Okay? I've got this guy coming at me, and I see what he's about to do, and I am able to block what he's throwing at me, take him down, and I'm starting to go for a submission technique, whatever, and then all of a sudden his buddy jumps out. Uh-oh. Now I'm in trouble. Okay? Because now I'm rolling around with his buddy on the ground. But that doesn't matter. If his friend jumps out from the corner, I may see him, I may not. I may be simply focused on the opponent that I know I have in my grasp right now. But his buddy can come out of nowhere and start stomp kicking me in the back of the head, or the back, or wherever. That's a problem. Another problem is that sometimes your opponent may be used to handling grapplers, so they may know a little bit of our tricks, and they may know a little bit of how to identify a grappler and be like, "Oh, okay, I got something for you." And as soon as you close the distance, they bring a knife into play, and it's out and in you before you even realize what the hell just happened. That happens too. So, I'm not saying that grappling is a bad art. I'm not saying that it doesn't have self-defense applications. Obviously, it does. Um, but to limit yourself in anything, be that limiting yourself in striking, that can be a bad thing as well. Because what if you're up against a really good grappler? Uh-oh. Now you don't have a clue what he's about. How can you fight that? If you're a grappler, but you're not willing to understand that there could be such a thing as multiple opponents, or there could be such a thing as this guy may be really great as a striker, or he may have a knife, and I may not be able to see that. I've got to be able to deal with that as well. So, there's a lot of things that you got to deal with. So, but anyway, that's my 2 cents in a small discussion video. Feel free to leave your comments, see what, and we'll just go from there. So, thanks, guys.